grip. I tell people all the time, wherever there's a bump, there's a grip. You'll see me constantly just be right here, wherever there's muscle, wherever there's fucking bone, wherever there's tendon. Take that, dig it in, grip. You've got yourself a grip. And you'll see me doing that stuff constantly. Where I go over the back of the shoulder, just kind of hook in, pull it that way. All set. You do it where I get the lower back. I thought you'd do it to my left hand, which is better anyway. It's hard for me not to throw when that's your kind of thing. So I can do that. Anything. I'm just looking for those grips, turn, making them turn, and making them not have good posture. Now, clinch game. We're going to start out where we can only touch arms and shoulders. Make sure both of you can touch arms and shoulders, and even though like 3 or 4 inches taller than me, something like that. We're at the range where I can touch shoulders, and I can hook behind shoulders is the key. I don't want just touching here for this game. So both partners can touch all of this. What we're going to do is we're going to work on trying to make their feet move without my feet moving. And doing that without making big pushes and pulls. So I don't want this continuous push. When you move them, it should be a twitch. So when we're here, we're going to look for grips, right? I'm just going to see what kind of pressures they ride with, what kind of pressures they fight. And now, when you're doing this, when he's pushing, you might say he's leaning forward. Now, you probably felt that, now he's leaning back. So I can pop that. So we're just here feeling, what are they doing? What are they riding with? What are they fighting? You can do it, it's tricky when you have just the shoulders and the arms, but you can do it when you pop them over too. They move on that, but you can pop them, and most of the time you do that, you twist it to get that motion. You see, when we do this, we're not, anytime we're actually trying to move them, it's just a pop. Because what you're getting someone used to is they're getting used to this pressure. Pressure, whatever direction, and how they should ride or fight that. But then if I make you feel like that pressure is going to happen, just twitch, twitch, that's when they'll fall off balance. So I'm getting them used to feeling that push and using that push to make them move.
So here I'm explaining to Chris that while he was pushing me initially, he was pushing kind of downward. And what effect that has is it actually strengthens my force going into the ground. 'Cause obviously there's a lot of base underneath you when pushing downward. And it's difficult to make somebody's feet move when you're putting pressure back into their feet. And that's what's happening when you push downward. What I'm telling him here is to try to either compress my arms into me and make me go back, or even better is make that have a little bit of lift, so a little bit of pressure up. You'll feel it, you can do it on the forearms. You can feel a pressure going kind of into your shoulders and taking your body and making your body stretch out, and that's what I'm explaining to him to try to get him to see the difference on what he originally did, where he kind of just pushed me and I wasn't really moving much, compared to if you pop underneath more than just going straight on. Since he is taller than me, it's harder to get that feel because they'll want to press down, but getting that little pop helps a lot.
Okay. Now, instead of being just out here touching this, now you can touch wherever. Right? Touch the body, off that. You'll notice that like the grips don't matter. What you're touching don't matter. You can manipulate people in so many different ways to like all of this. Like that last one, all I did was here, and I pressured here because he was already starting to go off. But for this, for right now, we're not moving our feet. We're just trying to make them move their feet. these little pots. But that's the game, right? Those are pretty simple. Now it starts getting a little harder. So now we are allowed to move our feet. And you're still trying to make them move their feet. You can do this in 2 sections. I kind of jump back and forth whether I prefer it in 2 sections or if I prefer just having it in 1. So, you know, I'm not your boss. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make their feet move. Now we're here, we can grab all this, and I can move my feet as well, which makes moving their feet much easier. So if you want to do this in 2 sections, this what you'll do is you'll start out where you're just trying to move each other's feet. Then I'm trying to make them move as we're playing this. Right. And as you do that, you can move your own feet. Who got that one? Who knows? Who cares? We're not keeping score. Obviously, you don't have to move your feet. It just makes it easier when you're pulling them in. When you're pulling them back, you don't necessarily need to. When we're in here, yep. You do that, notice what you did there is use this leg to make my foot move. It's kind of, we don't have rules in this game. I would say it was against the rules, so fair game. You can, again, make up whatever barriers you want. If you don't want the bottom halves touching, as you get better and better at this, well, I'll worry about that in a little bit. But you go, start making them move. So that's how you'll start out if you want to do it in 2 sections. If you want it in 1 section, you want to emphasize where they end up. So what I really want out of this is when I move, is making their body offset. That's the real goal of making that step. I don't want to just go, and then we're out here, just doing a little dance. Don't really want that, right? I'm trying to get it down in my position. So what I'm trying to do is make their body offset when I step. Yeah. And that's what you're looking to do. Over here, we're just trying to find ways and opportunities to offset. But really start to feel, you have to really start to feel how their body moves with all of this pressure. If I do the wrong thing here, don't just let it happen. If I'm here and I'm not fighting the pressure right, then I just put myself in a worse position. So you really need to start feeling what kind of position they're, or what kind of pressures they're giving back to you. Right? You're just trying to offset however you throw it. They're not throwing right now. Just try to make my body bend. Yeah. Yes. So boom, making that body bend as you make their feet move. If you can, keep it on a decent position. I can do it where, and there. All sorts of ways to do it. So before we get into the more difficult grappling part, I want to go over like adding release to this. Yeah. So as you saw before, he used his leg to manipulate. So when you're, especially in Muay Thai, this is kind of where the Muay Thai aspect of this really, I was going to say amalgamates, but is that a word? Yeah, amalgamates is a word. Man, that doesn't sound like a word. I don't like that. Yeah. Anyway, it's where all of this like combines together. When we're in here, what we're going to look to do is we're going to add legs in here, and we're going to see where these can happen. So as I'm in here, I can just kind of toss my leg up. If you didn't see it, what I did was I popped this, working on that, almost like the sitting on people earlier. Man, if they don't watch the video, if they watch this before the sitting down, it's going to be a really weird statement. But I used my thigh to offset that, snuck back, as that made his body offset, right? So that's where you're playing into this. You're just trying to find where these things happen. You see how they didn't offset my body, they just went right back into the flow. That's what you want. When you don't have that dominant position, try to make it to where you do something where you will have it, right? Yes. It's back when you do it, so then you'll really be able to, when you're here, you want to shoot like this. You really want to make sure you're offsetting. You can even do ones where you do that. Just work on some grips. I want to wrap, you're looking for knees as well. You can even throw them if you don't feel like you got a good position. I just kind of pop it up and go right back into it. And now we're just kind of punch ball, right? All of that just built in doing the Muay Thai punch. So now we're doing the same stuff. We're here. Actually, first, so far we have moved feet, offset the body. Now even more into like positional, especially if you're doing MMA, if you're doing wrestling, stuff like that. This will really kind of build into that. We can be here and we can look to either, I usually combine these two because I end up using a lot of the same stuff. Taking the back and grabbing the leg. When I say grab the leg, I don't mean just doing this. If I have it hooked, that's why I want to be in there. Right, so we'll be in here looking for grips, and I can even try that. Take that back. We'll be in here looking for grips. Get that leg. Right? And all of this is still, you'll notice when I do all of this, I'm offsetting the same way I did in pummeling, the same way I did in the earlier games. All of this is building to the next thing. Over here, I can even do this while I'm doing those games. Because that's, just grab the leg, right? And I also did all of the stuff that we've worked. You good? Yeah, I'm good. So we're here, and everything, boom. So, you know, we already said you don't want to come here. There you go. And that's how you want to keep it where they don't get it. So you're trying to feel that pressure. Now let's go to the last. The final version of this drill, especially working on MMA stuff, obviously, final version I show until it just goes into just live sparring, right? Yeah, is you reset each time. You notice in these drills, the reset point is when you accomplish that goal. Whether it's I got the back, now we reset. I grab the leg, now we reset. I offset, now we reset. This one is going to be your win conditions are grab a leg, get behind them, or get on top of them. And what I mean by getting on top of them is boom, I'm here, right? I'm here, I have offset them, my weight is on them, I'm in a dominant position. I don't typically use the word dominant position when describing these games to newer people, because it's real hard to tell sometimes for newer people what is a dominant position, because there are definitely positions that you feel like you're winning, but you're not in a great spot. And most of that has to do with how you're pressuring your opponent. So, when we do this, and I can be here, if I go, oh man, that's me winning. You reset. What's real fun about this is if I go down to get a leg, boom, they sprawl well. Boom, they won. They're on top of me. They're in this position. If they sprawl and I have that leg in, I'm in the dominant position. We're not keeping score, but it's just a thing to know. You get your legs back, you're on top of them, you put their head down, you can knee the fuck out, and you can get positions. That's the hard thing about this. It's like some of the things you have to do will put you in a transition period. It'll put you in that transition period where you can be in a bad spot if they react. when you're doing this. Finding those spots. It takes a lot of practice. Like, partner Hoots is not a grappler, so he's at a distinct disadvantage, but he does good. Yep, you got it. I'm talking shit, and then you just grab my leg. That's the game.